Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. I hope everyone is doing well. Ako po si Ina Reyes. I'm the Publishing and Communications Director of OMF Literature, and I will be your host this afternoon. So on behalf of OMF Literature and Hiyas, welcome to this webinar. First, let me introduce to you the publishing company behind this webinar. OMF Literature is the leading evangelical publisher and distributor of Christian books in the Philippines, specializing in books of inspiration, biblical instruction, and practical living. Hiyas is the children's imprint of OMF Literature and offers illustrated children's books on Christian values, health, and Bible stories, among others. Hiyas launched Usapang Pamilya, a series of learning sessions for families. The series features 5 Hiyas Room to Read books. We already did 3 webinars. This one we're holding now is the 4th. So stay tuned for the last webinar next month in time for the National Children's Book Day. Please follow OMF Literature and Hiyas Facebook and Instagram accounts for updates. So last month, we featured the book Kaya ni Nina, written by Janina Rivera and illustrated by Sai Vendiville. The webinar was about empowering children with disabilities. Ngayong hapon naman po, we will talk about discussing with your children difficult family issues. Tinola ni Nanay, our featured story for today, is another room to read and Hiyas title. It is a picture book written in Filipino for beginning readers. The book shows how a child deals with a difficult family situation and how he begins to mature in the process. Okay, as part of this webinar, we are giving out a special discount of 30% on the featured title. So from $149, you can get Tinola ni Nanay at a discounted price of just $105. This special offer runs from June 19 to July 2, 2021 only. So hanggang next week na lang po. So hurry and get your copy of the book. Avail of this discount at the OMF Lit Bookshop and at our online store, shop.omflit.com, and at our Shopee and Lazada flagship stores. Ano bang kakaiba sa librong ito? Well, what is extra special is that the books are personally signed by the author. Wow, the signed copies, however, are only available at the OMF Lit Bookshop Boni, at shop.omflit.com, and Shopee and Lazada flagship stores. So, order your copies now. All right, a few more announcements before we start. Don't forget to tag your friends and family members in the comment section so that they can watch this free webinar with us. And you can also rewatch or share OMF Lit and Hiyas webinars. Visit www.omflit.com/webinars. Nandiyan po sa screen natin. And you'll find all the webinars that we've done through our Facebook Live. All these can be accessed for free. And if you've been blessed by the content that we provide and you'd like to help us in providing more free webinars like this one, you can also donate to OMF Literature through the channels in our website. Paki-indicate lang po, donation for webinars, so we can properly attribute the donation. And for our friends in Canada, the She Day is coming to you virtually. So join us for a webinar entitled Unveiled, Transformed in His Image, a webinar featuring best-selling OMF Lit authors. This will be on July 10 at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So the speakers for She Day are Bettina Carlos, who will talk on making sense of God's purpose for pain. Feliz Lucas, who will speak on coping with grief and loss. And Joy Mendoza, who will speak on faith in the midst of tragedy. So check out our OMF Lit Facebook page for more info on this webinar. Also, it's our joy to share with you our newest release. This book, This Season of Grief, is available at shop.omflit.com, Shopee, and Lazada for $2.75. So online pa lang po available ang This Season of Grief. So check out our Facebook page for more updates. So what is the book about? In this season of grief, many have suffered different kinds of loss. We've suffered the loss of the physical, loved ones, our health, income, possessions. We've suffered the loss of intangibles, our freedom, memories, justice, peace. We've also suffered the loss of the ambiguous. We know we have lost them even though we could not name them. We feel all these losses and cry out in a collective pandemic grief. This book comes alongside those grieving many kinds of loss, not as an authority hurriedly dismissing grief, but rather as a gentle friend who says, I understand. Through stories, poetry, prayers, and practical help, this new book brings comfort and hope to those languishing in this season of grief. Lastly, help us in providing better learning sessions by answering a survey link, our survey link. So where is it? I think it should be shown on the screen, the survey link. So later when you see it, so help us improve our webinars by answering the survey. All right? So, magsimula na po tayo. Exciting tong kwentuhan na to, no? We all know it can be tricky to discuss difficult family issues with children, whether they are about finances or their relationship with their parents or their relationship with their siblings. So to help parents talk about these things, happening now is this free conversation with radio host Maloi Malibiran-Salumbides and children's book illustrator Felix Mago Miguel, here on the OMF Lit and Hiyas FB pages. We are also live on our OMF Lit YouTube channel. So if you have questions for Maloi and for Felix, please comment down below. All right, so bago kami sumabak sa kwentuhan, let me give a proper introduction to our speakers. So, si Maloi Salumbides is a radio host of Protips and Masayang Tahanan at FEBC 702 DZAS. She's also an inspirational speaker and the author of 2 children's books with OMF Literature with Hiyas, Boom Bang Clang, and our featured title, Tinola ni Nanay. Felix Mago Miguel is a painter, a book designer, and I should say one of the most in-demand book designers in the Philippines, Felix, and the illustrator of Tinola ni Nanay. Okay, so Maloi and Felix, long time no see!
Hi, Ina! Hi, Felix! Kamusta kayo? Sa lahat ng mga viewers natin dito, hello sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon. Yes. Salamat for accepting our invitation. Importanteng usapan to. So, kwentuhan, maraming questions. So, simulan na natin para marami tayong makover, no? So, first question, sabi is, how will we know if our child is ready to talk about a sensitive topic? So, siguro start tayo kay Maloi, tapos si Felix. So,
Sabihin ko
paano
sana mag-start dun sa dun sa kaka-birthday lang eh. Tsaka yung mas maraming anak.
Hindi, kay Maloi tayo.
Ay, muna pala, bago pa, oo nga, no? Unang-una, Felix, ilan nga anak mo, Felix?
Konti lang, 5 lang.
5.
Mas
Tapos,
maraming karanasan.
anong age nila?
The youngest just turned 13 last June 4. Tapos, yung kambal, the eldest,
Uy, may kambal.
21. So, 21,
Okay.
20, and then 17, then 13.
Wow.
So, medyo malalaki na sila. So, yung huli, binata na kasi mas matangkad na sa nanay nila ngayon. So, kaya, mama ng tawag sa kanya.
Oo. Tapos si Maloi, ilan ang anak mo? Daughters lahat si Maloi, no?
2. I have 2 girls, the left and the right. Baliktad. The left and the right. Yan.
Tapos how old are they?
Si Bea ay magto-20 this year. Pagkatapos yung bunso ko, nag-15 nung March. So malalaki na rin.
So malalaki na sila. So ibig sabihin, marami na silang difficult questions na naitanong sa inyo. So how did you know that they were ready to talk about difficult issues or a sensitive topic? Sino gusto magsimula? Sige, Felix, ikaw muna. Ikaw maraming anak eh.
Paano ko ba sasagutin yun? I think, siguro the best answer is there is no formula kasi what we learned as parents, kasi kahit na galing sila sa aming dalawa ni Mrs., 5 sila, iba-ibang personality. So in terms of readiness and even interest in talking about difficult question, iba-iba yung level. And I think the best answer is when they start asking that difficult question. So, parang it's not, parang kami ni Amel, hindi kami magsasabi na ready na sila. Parang sila yung magsasabi sa amin na meron kaming difficult question, mommy and daddy. So, ano ba yung sagot sa tanong na ito? Actually, ang napapansin namin, more than a question, when we start talking about the issue itself. Parang gano'n. So parang they don't really ask us the question directly. Pero yung question na yun that is relating to an event or a happening in the family or even in current events, halimbawa, election or EJK, yung mga ganyan, they start asking those questions, then we begin to answer. So, I think yun yung, that's how we deal with it. Kasi kahit yung panganay, for example, kambal sila, kaluha, isang babae, isang lalaki. So magkaiba. So alam naman natin that the male and the female, or the boy and the girl in the family, in the sibling, iba yung level of interest. So kaya pwedeng yung babae would be asking the question, but the other one is not yet asking that question. But because we like talking actually in the family, over dinner. So parang nahihila na lahat. So when the ate and the kuya start talking about these issues, unless it's really hindi pwede doon sa bunso, we actually discuss it when we're having dinner. And up to now. So kumbaga, it's really our practice to have conversations during and after dinner. So there you go. Si Maloi naman.
Kaya maganda rin yung talaga, yung sabay-sabay kumakain, kasi
yes. We actually insist on it. So, parang because of this pandemic, we miss the breakfast side kasi dahil yung mga bata nag-late matulog because of assignments and all that. So, we end up not eating together sa breakfast. Pero lunch, kahit na gaano ka busy, we eat together. And then definitely dinner kasi that's also the time where we discuss our verse for the day. So, yun ang aming Bible study time every day. So, short lang naman. So, before we actually even eat, so we do our Bible discussion before we proceed with dinner. Kasi yun lang yung time na pinaparelax na namin sila. Relax muna kayo. Kalimutan muna everything that happened today. Let's go to our Bible study. And then we of course talk about how's their day, ano yung difficulties and all that. So,
Yeah.
yun.
How about you, Maloi, with your daughters?
Sa mga anak ko, ganun din, kagaya nung sinabi ni Felix, we take the cue from the children kung ready na nga ba sila. Tsaka kung merong mga events na nangyari sa family, nangyari sa bansa, halimbawa nung namatay ang nanay at tatay ko. So we started talking about death. Kapag merong mga issues, halimbawa dito sa bansa namin, usually yun yung mga pinag-uusapan namin sa dinner table. Kaya lang, minsan nasosobrahan kami, kaya yung maliit namin, yung 15-year-old, sabi niya, I'm getting too stressed about the things that you are talking about. So pwede bang change topic naman? Happy naman pag-usapan natin. So we take the cue from the children. Tapos ang isa pang natutunan ko, I've been a parent for almost 20 years now, minsan may mga issues na sa tingin ko ay masyado pang bata for them to understand and for them to handle. So hindi iniisang tabi ko siya. Yun pala ay ready na sila doon. Na-discuss na nila sa school, na-discuss na nila sa kaibigan nila, at ang internet, available yung mga sagot doon sa internet. So bago tayo maunahan ng internet at ng ibang tao, maganda na sa mga magulang magsimula. Specific topic na sabi ng anak ko, dapat diniscuss ninyo ito sa amin ng mas maaga, was about sex. Tungkol sa sex. Siyempre, medyo sensitibong topic yan. At saka sa DepEd naman sinasabi, meron tayong sex education, ibabatay natin yan doon sa kahandaan at mga edad ng mga bata. Pero ngayon, because of their access to the internet, kahit hindi pa sila handa, di ba, na-expose sila sa ganitong klase ng mga materials at ganitong klase ng mga information. So, maganda na magsimula talaga sa magulang. Yung sa isip natin ay, baka malagyan ng mali siya ang aking mga anak. Alam niyo po, huwag tayong matakot at huwag tayong mangimik na kausapin sila about these very important things bago tayo maunahan ng ibang tao.
That's true, no? Yeah, na-mention ni Maloi yun, yung topic ng sex. No? So how do you talk with your children about sex?
Nung bata sila,
related matters.
Nung bata sila, natutuwa nga ako kasi suki ako ng mga Hiyas books. Kaya nung tinawagan ako ng Hiyas para maging part nitong project natin, yung Kwentong Musmos. Tuwan-tuwa ako kasi nakita ko yung ibang mga authors. Sabi ko, ay, grabe, ito yung mga authors na katuwang ko sa pagpapalaki ng aking mga anak. Dahil yung ibang mga difficult na mga topics, ginawang available. Halimbawa si Tito Doc, ang dami niyang mga isinulat, di ba, tungkol sa mga iba't ibang sakit. Tapos recently, merong nilaunch si Tito Doc, yung tungkol sa first menstruation. Hiyas ba yun?
Unang dalaw.
Unang dalaw. Hiyas din yun, di ba?
Yes. For
yun. So, yung tungkol sa changes, halimbawa, mga babae yung sa akin, so changes sa kanilang pangangatawan, yung pagkakaroon nila ng menstruation. If there is an available book, I start with those things and then I discuss that with my daughter. Kaya napakalaking tulong for difficult issues, napakalaking tulong kung ang magulang ay palabasa. Kasi nakita ko rin yan sa nanay ko. Ang nanay ko, palabasa siya. Lumaki kami na nasa mga bookstore, Alimars po no? May Alimars po ngayon. May Alimars, pagkatapos Goodwill Bookstore, National Bookstore, syempre. Yan yung talagang palagi in-expose kami ng nanay ko dyan. Kasi palabasa siya. So kapag may mga tanong kami, mabilis na nasasagot ng nanay namin. Kasi nga, palabasa siya. So I think this is a very big help for parents. If we are readers, if we are lifelong learners, kapag tayo ay hinarap na ng mga mahihirap na tanong ng ating mga anak, imbis na sabihin natin sa kanilang, i-google mo, meron tayong pansagot doon sa mga tinatanong nila sa atin.
Oo. Yeah, bago ko bitiwan yung question na how do we talk to our children about sex, gusto kong tanongin si Felix kasi mga lalaki ang anak niya eh. So ano ba
At babae.
May lalaki at babae.
Maraming lalaki, no? Oo.
Tatlong lalaki, dalawang babae. Yeah.
So how do you talk to your sons about sex?
Actually, when we talk about sex and with the family, not only with the boys, we focus on relationships. So, kasi more often than not, the problem with our society now is it begins as a parang normal, innocent relationships, and they end up doing things that they're not really ready about. So, kaya we talk about number one, kumbaga, we try to discourage them to going into relationship at this time. Kumbaga, they're all studying and we tell them, focus on your studies because after you finish your school, there'll be a time for proper relationships instead of getting them, kumbaga, mag-practice and all that. Naman yung mga bata ngayon, going from one relationship to another, thinking na that's the way to do it, as opposed to preparing yourself for the right person and being ready to be adult enough, okay, be not really adult but mature enough to handle that kind of relationships. Kasi yung nakita ko dun sa mga bata, especially yung mga nag-high school, very tricky where our society is actually going. So yung para dun sa mga bata, they have basically, kumbaga, parang bumaba na yung tingin ng mga tao on the importance of relationships. Kaya sinasabi namin sa kanila, focus on having friends, okay? Focus on learning from each other, okay? Focus on learning to love one another. Kumbaga, kasi sinasabi namin sa kanila, for example, the minimum of showing your love for your neighbor is actually respecting. So, show respect and you show love for the other person. So, kaya lang kasi, halimbawa, one of our boys encountered actually realized how difficult it is to go into a relationship. Although we had to remind him na na yung nararamdaman mo, kumbaga, mahirap i-process, mahirap pagdaanan, kaya we're telling you right now na do not engage in something like that yet. So let yourself become wizened by studying and learning from the Bible and talking to us and learn from all our discussions so that at the right time, you will be ready in your heart. Kasi kumbaga nakafocus kasi doon sa panandali ang pagkakataon for sex and not on a longer term relationship which involves the heart. And most often than not, the kids now, wala pa yung puso nila doon. And they're thinking na, sige, it's just sex, you just do it and then that's it. Kaya lang, that's where the world is going to right now. Kaya tuloy, maraming teenage pregnancy, maraming maagang nag-aasawa, pero dahil hindi ready yung mga puso for that kind of relationship, ends up separating very early. So, kaya tilang dinidiscuss namin sa kanila, when we go talk about these things, we talk about premarital sex, we talk about adultery and all that, we talk about fornication. Medyo mabigat actually, kaya pag mga ganon, yung aming bunso ay hindi muna kasama. But the four kasi medyo pwede nang pag-usapan. And they're the ones that are thinking about yung mga crush. Yung aming bunso kasi medyo, dahil bunso siya, medyo baby pa kahit na 13-year-old. Pero so hindi siya kasali kasi tinatanong namin, may crush ka naman, mga ganyan, wala pa naman daw. Pero of course, that's how it starts kasi, kaya medyo delikado. So, kaya ang inaano namin, pinofocus, and learning from the siblings, learning from their parents, learning from their friends. So at the right time, when the right person will come, the one that was assigned to you by God, you will meet. So then you can worry about sex and all those things. Kumbaga, we want them to be open to the possibility na they will have to wait for the right person before they even think about, not just engage in, but think about sex. Parang ganyan. So, and yun nga, we have kasi two girls, yung kambal kasi na 21 is a boy and a girl, tapos sumunod babae, and then sumunod lalaki. So, kaya yung apat pwede nang pag-usapan. And nag-ano naman sila, masaya naman kasi dahil yung mga malalaki are close. Kasi we're very close actually in the family. So we can talk about many things. And we appreciate it when they also talk about it themselves. Parang ganyan. So, and what we notice, they don't focus on sex. They don't really focus on relationship, on how difficult it is. Parang ganyan, how to see what is true, how to see kung ano ba yan, kung totoo ba yan, o baka na-challenge lang as opposed to really falling in love with somebody or really liking pa nga. So, as opposed to ano lang, na-challenge lang nga, kumbaga, or peer pressure, as they say.
Yeah.
So, kaya, and pag sa...
Felix, yun ang gusto kong i-follow up sa'yo siguro, sa both of you. Kasi most of, maraming mga ginagawa ang teenagers especially because of peer pressure.
Yes.
So how do you handle that? Pag ganyan ang ano nila, ang kanilang issue, peer pressure.
Sige. Sa amin, actually, I think, kung maalala ko tama, we allow actually the siblings to participate. Kumbaga, kasi parang ang nangyayari, we learn from the experience of the older ones, bagong mga bata. And napansin namin, it's actually easier for the siblings to handle it when instead of us telling them point blank na that's wrong, ito okay yan, ito mali, parang ganyan. We let the ate, halimbawa, discuss it with the younger one na parang, we know, kasi sinasabi nila na sila yung nag-a-advise doon sa mas bata na kung anong dapat gawin. Kasi admittedly, yung aming isang medyo pogi, parang tawag dito. Anong tawag doon sa crush ng bayan?
Crush ng bayan.
So may pressure, parang ganyan. So talagang sila sabihin ng mga ate to be really careful, parang ganyan. So yun. So we let each other actually support, magsuportahan, makinig doon sa mga ate on what to do, and then we advise them na yun na nga, always seek the truth, yung genuine relationships. Do not be pressured about yung sinasabi ng iba, parang ganyan. So kasi let's focus on the possibilities and what the Lord God wants you to do, hindi yung kung ano yung sinasabi ng ibang tao. Kaya pero admittedly, it's really very hard kasi right now, nung bata tayo, tayong tatlo, iba yung mundo, diba? Ngayon, parang all the attacks come from things that you see and don't see. Parang ganyan. Kasi the internet is so big, it's entirely another world. Parang ganyan. So, and ngayon, dati they remind you to watch over what they're watching, seeing, and reading in the internet. Kaya lang, it's becoming more difficult, admittedly. Kasi talagang, yung mga bata ngayon, yung gadget is now part of them. Parang tayo, we use it for work. Sila, it's part of them. Kumbaga, pag tinanggal mo sa kanila, parang tinatanggal mo yung a portion of their lives. Ganyan. So, actually, may nabasa ko na parang it's not anymore just a tool. It is becoming part of them. And admittedly, it's a bit sad in that sense. Kaya lang, we also have to accept and just figure out how to help them manage it. Na it does not become an idol, it does not be, occupy their time. Kasi nakakatakot yung dating yung time na yung kumaga nagloloko ang time ngayon na magkakarap yung magkaibigan, they're all talking with each other through their phones instead of face-to-face. And this pandemic actually did not really help kasi nawala yung eye contact. And I will admit it to you, sa inyong dalawa, yung doing this is very difficult for me kasi even though I see your eyes, hindi tayo nagkakabit talaga. So, parang yung generation natin is a generation who really faces the other side, watches over the expression, watches their eyes, parang ganyan. Yung mga bata ngayon, parang their eyes are always moving around. Alam mo yun? You're not even sure if they're listening to you. Parang ganyan. So, kaya, but that is them. I mean, parang tayo as parents, ang ang role natin lang is to make sure that they know their focus, that they know their purpose, and they don't get waylaid too far from the road that they should be taking.
Right.
I hope I answered it. No? Medyo napahaba ba yan?
Yeah.
Ina,
So-
gusto ko lang balikan nitong maganda yung tanong ni Iris Mendoza. Balikan ko lang yung issue tungkol sa discussing sex with our children. At what age is it okay to start talking about sex to kids? Ganda yan eh. Actually, bata pa sila, we can talk to them about sex. Iba-ibang levels nga lang, iba-ibang levels. Kasi halimbawa, we can start discussing to them gender, male, female, ikaw babae, ikaw lalaki. Yung ganun ka-simple, preparation na ito for discussing more mature topics on sex and sexuality. Pero bata pa lang, parang nga yung malis, di ba? Minsan yung mga sinaunang pamilya kasi talagang parang tabu, hindi mo yan pwedeng pag-usapan. So ngayon, ibigyan natin sila ng healthy na perspective patungkol sa gender, sex, sexuality, by discussing it to them as a normal part of their lives. So ibabagay na natin doon sa readiness noong bata, doon sa edad ng bata. So kung halimbawa, pinaliliguan mo yung anak mo, kahit baby pa lang yan, teaching the child the different parts of the body, pati yung kanyang sexual organ, yan, start na yun ng conversation about child or your child's sexuality. Tapos habang umiidad sila, saka na natin i-discuss yung mas komplikado at mas detalyadong mga bagay patungkol dito. Kapag halimbawa nakakita sila ng buntis na babae, pwede natin i-explain, pwedeng yun yung starting point ng discussion natin. Paano nagkaroon ng baby doon sa tiyan ng mommy? In simple terms, pwede mo yang i-discuss ng walang malis. Talagang matter of fact, science, at saka part ng day-to-day na buhay natin. Kapag naging teenager na yan, nagsisimula na yung adolescent years niya, nagkakaroon na ng changes sa katawan ng iyong mga anak, panibagong level na naman yan ng discussion. Bakit merong changes sa aking body shape? Bakit bakit bigla akong tinubuan ng buhok sa kilikili? Yung mga ganyan, pwede mo yan sa anak mo. So, you are discussing life, you are discussing science, you are discussing a difficult issue, pero dahil nga nasanay na sila, bata pa lang, it wouldn't be that difficult anymore kapag sila ay mas malaki na. Tapos, tungkol naman doon sa peer pressure, isa sa mga natututunan ko, ito kahit na matagal na akong nanay, patuloy pa rin akong natututo kung paano maging mas mabuting magulang sa aking mga anak. Ang nakagawian ko, kapag merong tanong ang mga bata, gusto kong, o problema na hinaharap sila, gusto kong isolve kaagad. Ewan ko, Felix, kung ganito ka rin, pero parang ang mga magulang, ang mode natin kaagad, you have a problem? I want to fix that for you. Pero hindi natin sila natutulungan kapag gano'n Minsan, talagang we have to walk alongside them so that they will be able to come up with the solution to their problem. Parang hindi natin palagi spoon feed, lalo na mga anak ko 15 at magto-20 na, di ba? So, dito matetest kung yung mga naituro namin nung mas bata sila ay talagang effective. Pagdating dun sa issue ng peer pressure, it would be good to start from the root of the problem and ask them. Instead of telling, asking would be a good part of the conversation. Why do you feel pressured? And then when the child answers, mas makapagbibigay tayo ng gabay. Kung ang problema niya, kaya siya nape-pressure, ay sense of belongingness. Di ba yan ang common na root ng peer pressure? I want to feel that I belong. So kahit na alam ko na mali ito, gagawin ko ito. Para maging part ako ng group. Di ba? So, kapag yun yung sinabi ng anak na, sige, pinipressure nila ako to have a relationship, pero usapan natin dito sa family natin, pwede lang ako magka-crush kapag 35 years old na ako.
Late na ata yung masyado.
Kasi minsan, I think ang usual na peer pressure, halimbawa, is mag-shoplift. Alam mo yon, yung katuwaan. O sige, di ba yung gano'n, no? So,
mga bisyo, magsigarilyo, uminom, hindi ba? Ngayon yata mas high-tech na ang mga peer pressure ngayon eh. Ang mga nababalitaan ko na peer pressure, halimbawa, papadala ka ng very sensual na photo sa tao na hindi mo kakilala. Yung mga ganyan ngayon ang peer pressure. So maganda na alamin natin dun sa bata, bakit ka na-pressure? Diba? Bakit ka na-pressure? Dito sa family natin, alam natin na ganito dapat. So why is this causing you undue stress and pressure? So from the answer of the child, that will be your take-off point kung paano mo siya sasagutin. So having difficult conversations with your children require a lot of listening. And I am learning that listening is a very complex, complicated na skill siya. Na pwede nating matutunan anuman ang edad natin. So if you truly want to be effective in conversing with your child, learn to listen well.
Correct. Yeah, and you listen not only to what they say, but to what they are not saying. Di ba?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yung body language nila, gano'n. May interesting question dito. Sabi niya, yung generation ko, 30s and 40s, lumaki na hindi sinasama ang mga bata sa usapan ng pamilya. Paano mababago ng mga parents na lumaki sa ganitong environment ang attitude na children should only be seen and not heard? So, merong mga ganun na, tahimik ka lang, ganyan. So, paano yung, like, mga lolo't lola nila, gano'n, tapos kasama niyo sa bahay. So, paano yun?
Sige, ako na lang yung mauna doon kasi dumaan ako dyan talaga. Nung lumalaki kami, yung magulang ko, kasi my dad is an Ilocano, my mom is Bicolana. But my mom kasi, we stayed in Ilocos for a few years. Yung mom ko was able to learn the language quickly. So, kahit hindi siya Ilocana, marunong siyang mag-Ilocano. So, nung bata kami, we noticed, ako personally, I noticed that when they're talking in Ilocano, it's because they're talking about something that they don't want us to hear about. Kumbaga, kaya tuloy, the funny thing is, even if I wanted to learn the language, later on, I realized, nag-uusap sila Ilocano kasi they're talking about something that bawal namin marinig. Kasi lumaki ako in a space na medyo maliit kasi. So, kaya kumbaga parang there's no place for us to hide in unless the parents tell us to get out of the house so they can discuss things. So, nag-uusap sila ng Ilocano. So, on our side kasi, parang we really changed it. Kasi parang kami ni Amel, ng aking misis, decided, sort of decided, we didn't really say we're going to do this, but we realized kasi the importance of communication in the house. Kung na bata pa lang, that the kids will not be afraid to come to us and tell us if they have any question, any need, and more importantly, to express their feelings towards us. Kasi yung mga nag-30s and 40s, and even up to now, you will be surprised. Even in my own experience, when we're doing some discussion with teenagers, we actually ask them, who among you expresses I love you to their parents? And surprisingly, not all raises their hands. Most often than not, konti lang yung merong yung nagsasabi talaga directly sa kanilang magulang na I love you. Kumbaga, they say they do it in another way. Pero kasi naniniwala kami ni Mrs. na the words and the action should be both of them. Kumbaga, magkasabay siya. Kasama mo i-express. Kaya kami, kasi sweet kami ni Mrs. So we also want the kids to be sweet to us and to each other. Kaya I'm going to tie it doon sa kanilang pinag-usapan natin kaninang peer pressure. Naniniwala kasi ako na kung yung mga bata, they feel that they belong to the family, na hindi sila OP hindi out of place, no matter what the peer pressure is, hindi sila maapektuhan. No matter what the push of the friends, they will not feel anything kasi alam nila, I can go home and I'm welcome there and my parents love me and my siblings love me. So, kahit hindi ko gawin yung gusto nila, kumbaga, parang hindi sila tatalaban ng pressure kasi they know they belong in a family. So, kaya lang, going back to the topic now, the only way that can change, that can happen is if the family is communicating in every aspect of the family and nag-uusap kayo. I know sometimes, syempre, may awayan and all that, but sa pamilya kasi namin, na-realize namin na pwedeng hindi kami kausapin ng lalo na yung mga medyo may edad na anak, yung aming mga older kids. But after a few hours or a day, they will come to us and say, they realize na what they did was wrong. Pero kasi kung yung bata hindi sanay to come to the parents and admit na we did something wrong, then doon nagkakaroon ng rift. Doon nagkakaroon ng, hindi ako kasali dito, sila lang yan. It's a kumbaga may issue yung pamilya, hindi kami kasama kasi anak kami, it's only for mommy and daddy, parang ganyan. Or may pressure, merong pressure sa school, hindi ko na lang sasabihin kay mommy and daddy, baka magalit, parang ganyan. So, and kaya naniniwala ko na having a very strong relationship in the family is important, and communication is very important. And expressing your love for your children and sila with each other as siblings, by hugging, by kissing, by expressing I love you, by showing concern, those will solidify not only the relationship of the family, but when they go out, they will always feel secure na even if they're out of place wherever they may be, they will come home and there's a family waiting for them.
That's true. That's true. Oo. Modeling talaga, no? Importante.
Yes.
Nakikita nila sa parents yun, O sige, ang dami na natin na pag-usapan. Last question lang, ito. Tapos mag-break tayo. Pero kasi nag-question dito, sabi niya, siguro meron siyang anak na maliit. So how do you talk with your kids daw? Or how do you explain si Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, yung mga ganon, sa mga little kids? So paano, paano Maloy? Paano mo explain yun?
Etong lahat ng to ginawa namin sa family namin. May Santa Claus nga Tooth Fairy. Kasi nung lumalaki kami, I remember the feeling, the enjoyment of receiving these surprises from Santa Claus. Tooth Fairy, hindi. Walang Tooth Fairy ang nanay at tatay namin. Pero yung Santa Claus, we practiced that in our home. Yung kinalakhang kong family. So, alam ko merong mga Christians who frown upon this. Pero sabi ko, baka naman lumaki ang anak ko na isipin, napaka-KJ naman, parang wala namang mga ganito. So para to balance it off, nung maliliit sila, we would pretend. Ang mga bata, very imaginative yan di ba? So nagpipretend kami na may sulat sa kanila at may gift sa kanila si Santa Claus. At may Tooth Fairy kapag nawawalan ng ngipin, nagsisilid kami ng 20 pesos dun sa kanilang unan. So we practice this. Pero nung lumalaki na sila, ang mga bata napakatatalino, alam naman nila na hindi ito totoo. So depende sa inyo yan. Depende sa conviction ng mga magulang. Sa akin naman, sabi ko, I think this is harmless. Hindi naman makasisira doon sa pananaw o dun sa paniniwala ng aking mga anak. It will not affect their relationship with God. So, okay lang. And then eventually, kapag ready na sila, sasabihin ko sa kanila, ako si Santa Claus. Ako ang Tooth Fairy.
Correct. Yeah.
Ako yun. Pero it's really just for fun. No?
Yeah.
Tapos, ina-explain namin sa kanila, nag-research din kami, ano ba yung si Santa Claus? Bakit ba nagkaroon ng Santa Claus? And then, ina-explain na namin yun sa kanila kapag sila ay lumaki na. Pero, katuwaan lamang siya. Katuwaan. At nakatulong din para mas ma-enhance yung creativity at yung imagination ng mga bata.
Yes.
Sa aming family yan, I am not saying that this is applicable to all families. Again, it depends on the conviction of the parents. Kung kayo ayaw ninyo itong gawin, I won't judge you for it, and I hope that you will not judge me dahil ito yung ginawa ko para sa aking mga anak. Alam mo, Ina, yung nanay ko, napaka-creative nun. Nung mga bata kami, syempre limitado yung budget. Limitado yung budget. Pagkatapos, hindi sila makabili ng regalo from Santa Claus. Ang ginawa ng nanay ko, sabi niya, sumulat. Sabi niya, well and Maloi. Dalawa pa lang kami, wala yung bunso. Well and Maloi, pagpasensyahan nyo na nahuli itong aking regalo dahil inuna ko muna yung mga bata sa Tacloban dahil dinalaw sila ng matinding bagyo doon sa Tacloban. Pero may mga ganong drama nanay ko, no? Tapos, pero gusto kong malaman ninyo na hindi ko kayo nakakalimutan. Kaya ito yung mga regalo na inyong hiniling sa amin. Love, Santa Claus. May ganyan si nanay.
So, marunong mag-Tagalog, Santa Claus.
Oo, marunong mag-Tagalog si Santa Claus. So, naramdaman ko yung tuwa hanggang sa eventually, nung na kami, parang 12 years old, na-discover namin na yung mga regalo nandun sa closet ng nanay at tatay ko. So, doon namin na-discover na sila pala yun. Pasensya na sa mga batang nanonood ngayon, ano? Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Di ba kaya nga tayo may kantang I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa?
I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. Oo.
Sige, so, break muna tayo. Pagod na kayo eh. Break muna tayo. Babalik tayo for more kwentuhan, ha? Okay, so meron tayong short video para makahinga naman si Maloi at si Felix. Okay?
Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Ako si Maloi Malibiran-Salumbides, ang sumulat ng Tinola ni Nanay at ng Boom Bang Clan. Mga aklat na inilimbag ng Hiyas OMF. At sana, inyong pag-isipan at i-consider na magbigay ng mga regalong naghahatid ng inspirasyon. Mga aklat pambata, regalong may aral, regalong may inspirasyon.
Kumusta po? Ako po si Felix Mago Miguel, ilustrador ng Tinola ni Nanay na isinulat ni Maloi Salumbides. Isang napakakulay na kwento tungkol sa masayang pagluluto at masarap na pagmamahal. Available na po siya sa online shop po ng OMF Lit Bookshops. Ganun din po, available siya sa Shopee at Lazada. So, inimitahan po kayo na baka gusto nyo bumili para sa inyong anak, pamangkin, inaanak, apo, at ibang mga kaibigan. Salamat po.
Alright. Alam mo nung hanggang ngayon, paborito ko talagang tinola. Sarap-sarap ng tinola. Kaya tuwan-tuwa ako dun sa libro nyo eh. Kasi masarap na pagkain, napakagandang libro pa, di ba?
Wow naman. Salamat, Ina. Ang mga anak ko naman, simula nang naisulat yung tinola ni Nanay, ang dalas may tinola kami. Ang mga anak ko, sawang-sawa na sila. Sabi, pwede ba huwag na munang tinolang manok ang ulam natin?
Comfort food talaga siya eh.
Oo, comfort food talaga.
Oo, di ba? So, sino ba nagsabi? Sabi ni Gladys, yung CEO namin, yung tinola ni Nanay daw, comfort food na, comfort book pa. Very good po.
Wow naman. Thank you, Gladys.
Next question tayo. Sabi niya, how do you answer when your child asks you a difficult question and you don't know the answer? For example, magtanong yung bata, why is there so much evil in the world?
Wow.
Yung mga ganyan, mga theological questions, di ba?
Oo. Ang nakita ko sa experience namin, honesty is still the best policy. Honesty talaga. The children will appreciate that. Kapag hindi mo alam yung sagot, edi sabihin mo, I don't know the answer, but let's find out together. Diba? Let's find out together. At mahahanap mo naman yung sagot niyan eventually. Why is there evil? Yung why is there evil in the world? Naku, palagi yung tinatanong, lalo na kung may mga sakuna, may mga trahedya, kalamidad na nangyayari, hindi ba?
Oh, yeah.
Ang daming mga libro uli para matulungan tayong mga magulang na i-explain sa mga bata kung bakit may evil sa mundong ito. Diyan babalik tayo doon sa Genesis, yung storya ng the fall of man, hindi ba? God intended that the world be perfect, everything will be beautiful, everything will be good for us. But because we chose another path, ayun, nag-start nang magkaroon ng evil sa world. So babalik tayo doon. Difficult questions are good bridges to introducing your children to Bible truths. Yan.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Totoo yan. Honesty is the best policy. May dadagdag ka, Felix? Naka-encounter ka na ba ng deep theological questions from your kids?
Sa ano naman, sa experience namin, I think I will tie it up doon sa sinabi ni Maloi on the parents being important na palabasa. Kasi we realize on, so, especially for our youngest, when they start going to school, nagsishift yung authority on things from us to the teachers in school. So, ibig sabihin, kasi we had a discussion with our youngest, sabi niya, but my teacher said, so, sabi daw nung teacher niya, but I told him, mali yung teacher mo. So, kaya we had to really discuss the topic and correct him by saying na, no, let's see, ito yung sinabi ng teacher, but the thing is, this is what is correct and not that one, diba? So, kaya importante na the parents, sabi nga ni Maloi, be honest, na sige, kung hindi masagot, let's go jump together and find out. No? Pero, in terms of yung difficult questions on evil and all those things, kami naman, we tend to focus to bring the children naman to forgiveness. So parang we remind them that it's important for us to learn to forgive. So kasi kung may away, magbabalikan lang, hindi kayang patawarin, then the evil continues. So kaya pag kayo dadaan doon sa ganung difficult situation na somebody causes you evil, you don't bring evil back, but instead learn to forgive. So that hinto at instead
Ay, medyo na
medyo medyo freaky. Gusto ko sana sabihin kung sino man yung aming pwede ko sabihin. No, hindi na. Yung aming provider, medyo I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Nasa naputol ka, Felix, sa yung sa tricky. May sinasabi ka na medyo tricky. Naputol ka doon.
Pag medyo tricky, we go, supporting what Maloi said, we have to learn to be honest. And if you don't know the answer, then say to them. No? Pero kung we're talking about bad things happening, we actually bring them to forgiveness. Kasi nga the Lord, God, actually trying to teach us up to now to learn to forgive. Kumbaga, the only way to stop evil is to learn to.
Yeah.
So sorry. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah. Anyway, sige, pasa mo na kay Maloi and I'm going to try and fix the connection.
Sige, yung isa pang question is, meron bang mga topics na hindi dapat i-discuss with children?
Sa palagay ko, lahat naman ng topics pwedeng i-discuss sa mga bata, pero depende sa kanilang kahandaan. Again, we will go back to what we said earlier. Be sensitive to the readiness of the child. Pwede ka namang mag-eksperimento, hindi ba? Hindi naman papahamak ng mga anak mo kung halimbawa nag-introduce ka ng isang topic tapos hindi nakinig sa'yo, huwag kang magalit. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya nag-engage, hindi siya ready for that topic. No, hindi siya ready for that topic. Pero siguro, isa sa pwede nating i-link dyan sa tanong na yan, halimbawa meron kayong pinagdidiskusyonan na mag-asawa at sensitive yung topic. Iwasan natin kung feeling mo na ito ay tutungo sa isang heated argument, iwasan gawin ito sa harap ng mga bata because children, lalo na small children, have a tendency of always thinking that you are fighting because of them. Halimbawa, may issue sa finances. May issue sa finances. Kulang ang budget. Pagkatapos nag-discuss kayong mag-asawa in front of a child, pagkatapos narinig nung bata, wala tayong pera, kulang yung pera natin. So, iisipin na ng bata. May tendency ang mga anak natin na i-magnify lahat ng mga bagay kasi hindi naman nila nakikita yung big picture. So, iisipin na nun, naku, wala kaming pera, paano na, magugutom na kami, hindi na ako makakapag-aral, yung mga ganon. So, let's be very careful when we are having an adult discussion and there is a tendency for it to be a heated argument, make sure that you shield the child from it because there are many things that they will not understand and they will perceive it differently from how an adult will understand or perceive it.
That's true. Totoo yan. Alam mo naalala ko nung batang-bata pa ako, may time, nag-aaway ang parents ko at that time. And I was very, very young. Alam mo, totoo pala yung parang umiikot yung mundo mo. Parang physical talaga ang ang effect. Yung parang lumilindol. Ganon, parang. So sa child, pwedeng talaga yung, hindi natin alam talaga yung mga effects sa bata mo pag, kasi source of stability talaga ng children at parents.
Oo. At saka isa pang natutunan ko, yung kapag halimbawa sumisigaw ang adult, eto kapag maliliit yung bata, yung sigaw natin, it creates trauma in children. Na nakaka-cause siya talaga ng trauma sa mga bata. Ang dating sa kanila talaga, galit, takot, no? So, nagki-create yon ng negative na pakiramdam para sa mga anak natin. So, be mindful of that also. Kapag minsan nawawala ng pasensya ang nanay, ang tatay, napasigaw tayo, make sure that we explain to the child para hindi nila iti-take na galit sa akin si nanay, galit sa akin si tatay. Mag-create yun ng takot, maapektuhan yung open communication sa loob ng tahanan kapag mayroong takot. Kagaya nga nung sinabi ni Felix kanina, di ba? Importante na nagko-communicate tayo sa mga bata so that they will be comfortable to ask us difficult questions and difficult issues. Kung merong takot, paano magiging komportable yung kwentuhan. So, isa yun dun sa mga walls na kailangan nating i-break. If there is fear, if there is lack of trust between the child and the parent, kailangan i-build muna yon. I-build yung tulay so that our conversations will be effective and more enjoyable both for the parent and for the child.
Yeah. Yes. At saka yung importante that the child feels safe.
Yes.
No? Safe for him to talk with the parents. Maganda itong yung question dito, sabi niya, how do you help a child who is addicted to games, no? Video games or sa gadget. Ako, ang daming ganyan, no? So how do you handle that pag addiction na may tendency towards addiction na yung bata?
Oo.
Ulitin ko yung tanong para maka-engage ka rin. May nagtanong dito na, how do you handle a child who is addicted to games, video games, or to gadgets? Start tayo with Felix, bago ka mawala. Ikaw muna.
Sorry. I had to switch provider para makabalik. So yung isa is really bad. Anyway, sa amin kasi, we remind them na it's a privilege. So, although sinabi ko kanina na yung mga bata ngayon feels like yung gadgets part of their lives, we still remind them na these are privileges. Ibig sabihin, you may need them, pero we can take away the privilege from you. So, kasi nagiging problema namin yan doon ngayon sa youngest. Unfortunately, lumaki siya na mabilis ang internet. So, kaya yung bunso namin, instead of reading the books in the house, ended up looking for videos to engage in. So, okay naman yung mga pinapanood niya. It's all learning and all that. But we were hoping na para ngayong summer, we were telling him to, sige, let's practice. We will assign you small novels, short novels to read so that you will learn to fall in love with reading physical books as opposed to watching videos. Kasi nga yung mga bata ngayon, especially his age and below, nawala na yung habit of reading. Kasi nga, mahirap talagang kalabanin yung moving stories na dito sa video, movies, o ilan mo ngayon, parang the YouTube has several million channels, whatever your desire is, nandun siya, whatever your hobbies, nandun siya. And yung mga bata na yan, naunahan na tayo actually, yung mga, lalo na yung mami nila, naku, pag may problema yung computer, tatawagin yung bunso kasi hindi na makakatch up yung mami doon sa sa technology that's moving too fast. So, kaya we remind them, sige, ganito gagawin natin. One, it's a privilege, ibig sabihin, we can take it away from you anytime. And two, we remind them that it is not part of you. Kumbaga, those are just tools that you can use with an end in mind, to learn, to communicate, and all those things. So, ibig sabihin, kapag medyo napapansin namin na lumalala ang habit, we actually take it away. We don't hesitate. I warn them, ako as a tatay, I warn them na unless you stop doing what you're doing right now, I'm going to take away your gadget from you. And buti na lang, yung mga anak namin, medyo sumusunod pa sa akin. So, kaya nga it is really important to communicate with them kasi we want as parents to make them realize na the authority resides in the parents. And that we have gone through so much and we're imparting wisdom sa kanila na kakailanganin nila. Na hindi lang to because on a whim we don't want you to have your tools. Kasi, so we remind them na don't feel bad when we call you out. Diba? When we call you out kasi nga, yung mga anak namin, except for the young, is medyo adult na. So, even the adults, we actually tell them, stop, diba? Kasi nga, parang yung isa naming anak na architectural, taking architecture course, sanay na nagtatrabaho, siyempre may screen, na habang nagtatrabaho online, kausap yung mga kaibigan o kaklase. So talagang the network is really, andyan na, talagang it's part of them. Kumbaga, hindi ko alam kung lahat ng kausap niya yung classmate niya having the same class or somebody else. Pero they can multitask, think about these things. Pero napapansin namin, dahil nga dahil yung pag-inutusan mo, it's different. It doesn't go through the gadget. Minsan yun na nakakalimutan. So, kaya tuloy kami, we have to adapt. Minsan, papadala dun sa family GC, mga bata, don't forget, we have to do these things. So, parang nagbabago na talaga. But we're reminding them na kumbaga, it is important to put away your gadgets when it's time. Halimbawa, when you're having dinner, take it away. Bawal mo lang tumingin dyan kahit na you're itching to check on something, please stop. When you're talking to somebody, please stop. Kasi we're having our dinner, this is our time together. So, kaya importante na i-remind sila na hindi yun ang buhay. Kumbaga, it's just a tool that you use, it's a tool that helps you with what you're doing, but it is still important to actually engage with somebody. And admittedly nga, especially for the boys actually, sila yung mga napapahilig sa games. It's actually very difficult kasi, to tell you the truth, halimbawa, dahil nga this pandemic, walang connection yung mga bata. Wala silang physical contact. So, yung isa naming anak, stays up late kasi yung mga ibang kaibigan niya, ang kanilang connection lang is playing games together over the internet.
Yeah.
Kaya parang hirap na, tama na yan, gabi na, etc. Pero, yun yung nila, yun yung situation, and how do you deal with that? So, we just tell them na, please tell them na pag gantong oras, stop na kayo. Yun. Pero hindi mo masabing directly na wag kang sumali dyan. Kasi nga, yun yung kaibigan niya. Yun yung mga kaibigan niya. And admittedly, and they haven't seen each other for more than a year. Parang ganyan. So kahit nandito kami sa Bohol, kahit naman relax, pero yung mga magulang kasi medyo takot. So talagang walang physical contact. Very, very rare ang physical contact. And the only connection that they have is through social media, through playing games.
Yeah.
But we just warn them, do not get sucked into it. You know, do that kasi nga, we really have to watch kung ano yung ginagawa nila, di ba? Again, yun. So kaya pag medyo, when we feel like na kailangan ng bakasyon, we tell them, sige, bitawan mo ng mga gadgets, rest muna, and let's look at around us, what do we need to do? Or for the youngest naman, go back to the books that we have assigned you. And hoping that they will realize na totoo nga, na it is good to actually have rest time from these gadgets. But we also have to admit to ourselves na they need it because that's where they connect to their friends. And especially at this age, they need to be in contact with friends. They need to know that their friends are still there. And kaya minsan kami pa yung nagre-remind, kinumusta mo na ba yung kaibigan mong ganyan? How is she? How's this and that guy? So para malaman nila na we're also concerned. Kumbaga, hindi lang sila, it's not that we don't care. That's why we actually tell them, sige, kumustahin mo naman. Kasi nga, alam namin, halimbawa, the last time we talked about this guy, he was doing that. So, kumustahin namin if we remember. So that they know we also care. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have to deal with 5 kasi iba-iba yung needs nila talaga.
Oo nga,
Pamilya na, you have to be careful. Yeah, I mean, kasi nga, medyo, especially the youngest, parang one food generation halos yung gap dun sa, sa eldest. Dun sa, kaiba yung mundo nila.
Yung youngest mo is 15 years old? 13. How old? 13.
No,
youngest mo?
Yung sa amin, 13. Tapos yung ate niya, eldest, 21. So, 8 years ang difference nila. So, kaya, medyo magkaiba yung. Yeah. Pero, maganda naman.
Yung daughters mo ba?
The artist, remind the youngest.
Yung daughters mo, Maloi, para silang parang barkada ba sila? Magkalapit ba sila ng age?
Hindi, 5 years ang gap. 5 years ang gap. So may kanya-kanya ding circle of friends yan.
So iba din ang issues nila, no? May magandang question dito. Sabi nila nung question, do you censor what your kids watch on Netflix? Ako yung Netflix.
I do. Oo. Kasi ang daming mga material sa Netflix na kung lalo na kung batang-bata pa yung mga anak ninyo, hindi lang medyo, talagang it goes against our beliefs, kaming family namin as believers, So kung yun yung daily feeding nila, naku, delikado talaga kasi it will influence how they think about life, how they view the world. So I censor.
Yeah.
Alam ng mga anak ko na sinesensor ko yung kanilang mga pinapanood. Ginagamit ko yung, di ba meron namang mga buttons doon, mga restrictions. So wala silang access dito sa mga movies na ito. Minsan nga iniisip ko, sabi ko, alam nyo, parang ang daming material sa Netflix na hindi maganda. So tanggalin na kaya natin yung subscription natin sa Netflix. Aba, di lahat naman sila nag-rally, nagprotesta. Pero yun, we censor it. Tapos ang isa pang suggestion ko sa mga families, have a movie night, yung imbis na kanya-kanya yung gadget na may kanya-kanyang Netflix subscription, mas maganda that you watch together so that you can also discuss it afterwards. No? So make it a bonding time for the family. Yun yung aking suggestion on Netflix.
So anong one example of a movie that you watch together as a family that you enjoyed?
Mamayang gabi, meron kaming papanoorin namin yung Fatherhood. Although I've not seen it yet, pero parang comedy yata siya. So for belated Father's Day.
Okay. Ito, meron pang isang question, maganda to Sabi niya, my husband and I often discuss the news and social issues with our kids. Minsan, minsan naiisip ko na baka we're already treating them as adults when they're just kids. Baka masyado ng seryoso ang mga nasa isip nila at nakakalimutan na nila maging bata. Ano po ang maipapayo ninyo?
Ay, sino ba yung nagtanong yan? Appear tayo, classmates tayo dyan. Ganyan din kami sa, ganyan din kami dito sa bahay. We discuss a lot about the news and social issues kasama yung aming mga anak. Until yung aming bunso nagsabi nga, this is stressing me out. Can we change topic please? Parang masyadong seryoso naman palagi. Kaya iniba din namin. So maganda, nagdi-discuss tayo. Pagkatapos, we are also sensitive to how our children are feeling and thinking about it. We can ask them, oh, what's your opinion on this? Ano sa tingin nyo? Ano sa palagay ninyo ito? Kapag nagbigay sila ng mga opinion nila, pakinggan. Kapag hindi sila nakikinig, ibig sabihin, hindi sila interesado doon. So, change nyo na yung topic. News and social issues, it's good to discuss that as a family, pero wag masusobrahan. There are other things that we can also talk about so that our children will be, alam niyo yun, yung worldview nila buo, di ba? Buo. Hindi lang balita, hindi lang social issues, pag-usapan din ang word ni God, pag-usapan din ang ibang mga bagay na interesado yung mga anak natin.
That's true. Maganda yung sinabi mo, dapat buo ang worldview. Tama yun. Yeah. Also, wow, grabe oh. Ano na tayo ha? Medyo
overtime na?
Hindi naman.
Overtime, di ba?
Meron pa ba tayong questions from the audience?
May dadagdag lang ako dun sa movies and social issues. Kami naman, kasi definitely doon sa youngest, we really watch what he's watching. Pero siya kasi walang access sa Netflix on his own. But the bigger ones, yan. So ang hirap bantayan. Ang hirap actually pigilan. So what we do, we actually use it as an opportunity for discussion. So we try to bring it through the lens of our faith. Kumbaga, kung tama ba yun? Kumbaga, tama ba yung ginawa ng protagonist? Mga ganyan ba? So, which also applies doon sa social issues. So, we actually try to put the two together kasi parang we have having issues here and you have something that is real and something that is fiction. And so, we try to actually, not naman all the time, but a lot of times, mesh them together so that they understand and they get encouraged to think critically. Kasi para they will kumbaga as they grow and mature para mas matalas mag-isip and lalo na reminding them na this is not what really God wants. Di ba? Kung kayo yung protagonist, what do you do? Ano ba yung dapat gawin? Things like that. So kaya minsan yung nabanggit ko kanina when we have our long dinner discussions, talagang masaya. So pag nag-movie night naman kami, what the older siblings ang ginagawa nila, kasi syempre, medyo nanonood, may mga bagay doon sa pelikula na hindi dapat nakikita ng bunso. So, tinatakpan nila yung mata. Actually, nakakatawa yung mga bata. So, kumbaga, tatakpan nila yung si Langit, yung aming bunso. So, hindi na makita. May taga-takip ng mata, may taga-pause. Sabihin nila, huwag ka muna titingin. So, forward nila. So, kaya masaya. So, and yun na nga. I think yung Netflix, yung mga bata should not have access to it on their own. So, kaya buti na lang din. So, kasi yung aming bunso, merong gadget na sa kanya, pero hindi kaya ang Netflix. So, nandun mo siya. Kasi what we do is, pasahan. So, pagtapos na dun sa kuya, papalitan ng gadget, pupunta dun sa mas mababa. So, kaya yung hawak-hawak ng bawa ng bunso is the oldest phone in the house, which is less capable. So, kaya meron siyang pwedeng gawin doon, but that does not include watching Netflix. So, or things parang ganyan. So, pero I think, to reiterate, I think the parents, if they can, should always take, get the opportunity, grab the opportunity for discussion, whether it's the movies or social issues, so that we can always bring them back to what God said or what the Lord wants. And kumbaga, if we're going to go through that event or opportunity, para alam natin kung ano yung dapat gawin.
Right.
So, and that makes and I think yun yung what we're hoping na all our kids will be also doing when it's their turn. Kumbaga, to encourage their own children in the future to be close to them. And kaya importante na there's a very strong bond and hindi mag-hesitate makipag-usap yung mga bata. So, kaya natutuwa kami when we see actually our kids, sila yung nagkukwentuhan on issues, on things. So, and nagbabantayan. So, kaya I think importante na maramdaman ng mga bata na mahal nila isa't isa and they belong.
Yeah.
And their mom and dad, mahal na mahal sila. Kasi nga, how do we show them na mahal kayo ng Diyos if they don't feel it from us, parents, di ba?
Right.
So, and that's the only way, kumbaga, kasi we always keep on telling them na, di ba, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So, kailangan mapuno yung puso nila ng masaya, ng mapagmahal. Paglalabas sila, kailangan ma-express. Kaya we keep on minsan nagkukwento yung mga bata na na they talk to their teacher or to their parent, to their classmates, and we find something parang surprising. Tinatanong kagad namin, did you really say it like that? Parang ganyan. So, so sasabihin nung hindi naman, I mean, what I meant was, I said this and that. So, para talagang, matuto sila to be careful in everything that they say. Kasi nga, from our tongue is either life or death, di ba? So, kailangan we should really, really be careful. There, anyway. Yeah, sorry.
All right. So, before we wrap up, I'll give you, both of you, just one round. Any final words of encouragement to our parents and teachers on this topic? How do you talk with kids about difficult issues? So, start tayo with Felix and then si Maloi.
For us as a family, for Amel and I think the best denominator for talking to kids about difficult issues is to always put it in a parenthesis of love. So, kasi the reason why you're actually talking to the kids about these difficult issues is because you love them. And you know na whatever the topic may be, you are there to listen, you are there to put them in the proper perspective. You are there to remind them of what God said about these issues, so that no matter what the topic is, they will come out of it full. So parang yun yung ni-remind ni Amel parati kasi na we have to fill the kids with love so that when they go out of the house, they're all filled with it. So we have to, and we feel it with our own love for them. So we don't hesitate to tell the kids, I love you. We don't, so that sila then will express their love for us. So kaya no matter how difficult, thorny, how seems to be taboo yung topic, we know we can do it because we will be telling them out of love. And they ask the question because they know that their mom and dad will answer them truthfully. That we will give them the best direction. If they have to go in their own journey, we will guide them. Remember what God said. If you're going to go take that route. So that kahit na sila lang mag-isa, kumaga, even if they go to the valley of the shadow of death, they will not be afraid. So kaya yun yung sasabi namin. And although it's an ongoing journey and process for us, kasi nga, ang daming kalaban, diba? I mean, from all aspects of our society and culture, media, parating may attacks. Kaya we cherish yung aming evenings for discussion so that kung meron man issues for the day, whether it's a movie na napanood nila or an issue that's happening right now, lalo na yung, kasi alam naman natin, the news is always filled with something the kids are willing to talk about it, and that we will all come out of that dining table parang nasagot yung tanong, or at least we're ready to go, kumbaga, we're ready to take the night and sleep relaxing at peace. Ayun. So and of course, reminding them always to talk to God about it as well kung meron silang issues.
Yeah.
But going back to what I'm saying, we want to us to show the kids that they should never hesitate to come to us for anything. So whether it's a question, whether it's a suggestion, actually, if they saw something that we did wrong, that they felt like nasaktan sila. So yung mga anak namin comes to us. Kung hindi sa akin directly, for example, they go to their mommy. So depende doon sa issue. So but they know that na they will be heard. That they have us and that we love them so much. There you go. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Tatay Felix. Parang sarap makikain sa inyo pag dinner.
Oo nga. Punta tayo.
Pag pumunta kayo sa Bohol.
Tayo kay Felix.
Yeah. We're inviting you if you're going to Bohol in the future when everything is okay. We'll introduce
Maloi,
you to Ulan Araw ng Langit. Yeah.
Oo, gusto kong makipagkwentuhan sa pamilya nila. Parang masarap makipagkwentuhan doon, ano?
Yeah. And
Maganda
for your last words of encouragement, Maloi.
Oo, para sa mga magulang, hindi madali ang maging magulang, hindi ba? We are bombarded with a lot of questions. We are bombarded with a lot of words from our children. Minsan yung mga sinasabi nilang mga salita, parang ang hirap nating tanggapin dahil nga magkaiba tayo ng generation eh. Pero isa sa mga natutunan ko, if we want to encourage our children to open up to us, we need to be very honest and authentic with them. Huwag nating ipakita na perfect tayo. Mamahalin tayong higit at saka makaka-relate sa atin ng mas maigi yung ating mga anak, lalo na yung mga teenagers. Kapag nakita nila, si mama pala, si papa pala, may mga flaws din sila, may mga imperfections din pala sila. So, when we are open to them about it, mas mag-open sila sa atin na alam niyo po, ito ginawa ko, ganyan. Na walang judgment. Kagaya ng sinasabi ni Felix kanina, no, they are in, your home is an environment of grace. Your home is an environment of love. That will foster good and open communication between parents and children. Ang panganay naming anak, very progressive mag-isip. So, minsan, yung kanyang mga opinion sa mga bagay-bagay, nagugulat ako. Pero ang sabi niya, Mama, I really appreciate it when you withhold your reaction. Kapag meron akong ino-open up sa iyo, na alam ko sa generation mo, mahirap siyang pakinggan at saka mahirap siyang tanggapin. At sa akin, nakakataba ng puso yon na, wow, I have provided my child a safe place. Correct. Na ang feeling niya, safe siya na mag-open up sa akin, anuman yung kanyang mga iniisip, anuman ang kanyang mga opinion, hindi man kami pareho ng pananaw doon. Feeling niya, makakapagsabi siya kay mama, makakapagsabi siya kay papa. At isa yun sa tingin ko, no, na magandang maging goal natin na mga magulang, na ang mga anak natin, safe at sila, yung they feel safe to open up to us, hindi lang sa kanilang mga kaibigan. Minsan, di ba, dumadating doon sa punto parang mas safe silang mag-open sa mga kaibigan nila kaysa sa atin. Kasi mga kaibigan nila, they don't judge them. Tapos tayong mga magulang, merong sagot kaagad doon sa kanilang mga tanong. Tsaka, minsan, ang mga anak natin, they will say questions na hindi naman talaga nila gusto na sagutin natin. Ang gusto lang nila, pakinggan natin sila. So, huwag tayong matakot na makipag-usap sa kanila kahit na meron silang mga difficult questions, because our children will understand, hindi naman all-knowing ang nanay at tatay namin. So, maiintindihan nila kung hindi natin masagot yung kanilang mga tanong. Yun lamang, let us may our conversations with our children be grounded on authenticity, on truth. So, part ng pagiging authentic, anak, pasensya na, hindi ko alam yan. Pero sige, hanapin natin yung sagot. Sabay tayong hanapin yung sagot. Also, I'd like to end with this. Difficult conversations are an invitation both for the parent and the child to experience God in a deeper way. Pwede natin sabihin sa anak natin, alam mo, hindi ko alam ang sagot dyan, pero alam ng Diyos. So, hanapin natin, tignan natin kung ano yung sasabihin ni God sa atin tungkol dito sa situation na ito ng buhay mo o tungkol dito sa tanong na ito. And you would be very surprised. The Lord is Lord of the young and the old. When you point your child to God and tell your child, anak, pareho nating hindi alam yung pray nga natin, sabihin mo sa akin kung paano ka sasagutin ni God, sasabihin ko rin sa iyo kung paano ako sasagutin ng Panginoon. So it becomes an opportunity both for the child and for the mother and the father to experience God in a fresh way. So don't be afraid of difficult situations because there is nothing, or difficult conversations, because there is nothing too difficult for God. It is an invitation both for the child and for the parent to draw closer to God and to ask the Lord for wisdom so that you can find the answer that you are looking for. Maraming salamat.
Wow, amen. Amen to that. Amen to your wise words, Tatay Felix Mago Miguel and Miss Nanay, Nanay Maloi Malibiran-Salumbides. Maraming salamat, grabe. Busog na busog ako. This is a very enriching conversation. And I'm sure yung mga viewers natin ay talagang marami silang takeaways at talagang na-encourage sila. So maraming salamat, Maloi and Felix, sa pakikipagkwentuhan sa amin this afternoon. Okay. Now, to our viewers, a few more reminders. Hiyas launched Usapang Pamilya, a series of learning sessions for families. The series features 5 Hiyas room-to-read books. So stay tuned again for next month for the last one. So follow OMF Literature and Hiyas Facebook and Instagram accounts for updates. And our featured book for today, Tinola ni Nanay. It's another room to read and Hiyas title. It's a picture book for beginning readers written in Filipino, and it shows how a child who is dealing with a difficult family situation matures in the process. So as part of this webinar, we are giving out a special discount of 30% for ang Tinola ni Nanay. So from 149, you get it for only 105. And the special discount runs until July 2 na lang po. That is, I think, next Friday na lang. So avail of this discount at OMF Lit Bookshop, at shop.omflit.com, and Shopee and Lazada flagship stores. Ngayon, what makes this offer very special is, ano po yan? Autograph po yan ni Miss Maloi Salumbides. No? Autographed by the author. But the signed copies are only available at the OMF Lit Bookshop in Boni, at our online store, shop.omflit.com, and at Shopee and Lazada flagship stores. So, order na po kayo dahil hanggang July 2 lang po yan. Alright. Also, you can rewatch or share OMF Lit and Hiyas webinars. Just visit www.omflit.com/webinars, and you'll find all the webinars that we have done through our Facebook Live. All these can be accessed for free. And if you've been blessed by the content that we have provided so far, and you'd like to help OMF Lit in providing more free webinars like this one, ang ganda-ganda, di ba? You can also donate to OMF Literature through the channels in our website. Please indicate donation for webinars so we can properly attribute the donation. And for our friends in Canada, the She Day is coming to you virtually. So join us for the webinar entitled Unveiled, Transformed in His Image, featuring best-selling OMF Lit authors. This will be on July 10, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Sa Manila, 4 a.m. po yan. So, gigising kayo ng maaga. So, the speakers for She Day are Bettina Carlos, who will speak on making sense of God's purpose for pain, Feliz Lucas on coping with grief and loss, and Joy Tanchi Mendoza on faith in the midst of tragedy. So, check out our OMF Lit FB page for more info on She Day. And again, I'd like to share with you, with joy, our newest release, the book, This Season of Grief. It's now available online at shop.omflit.com, Shopee, and Lazada for $275. So what is the book about? In this season of grief, many have suffered different kinds of loss. We've suffered the loss of the physical, loved ones, our health, income, possessions. We've suffered the loss of the intangibles, our freedom, memories, justice, peace. We've also suffered the loss of the ambiguous. We know we have lost them even though we could not name them. We feel all these losses and cry out in a collective pandemic grief. So this book comes alongside those grieving many kinds of loss, not as an authority hurriedly dismissing grief, but rather as a gentle friend who says, I understand. So through stories, poetry, prayers, and practical help, this new book brings comfort and hope to those languishing in this season of grief. All right, so go to our Facebook page for more updates on the availability of the print copies of this season of grief in our bookshops, right? And lastly, help us in providing better learning sessions by answering the survey link. So yan po, nasa screen natin yung survey link. So, that's it. So, this has been a talagang nakakabusog na hapon, no? Talagang usapang pamilya talaga. So, maraming salamat. Maraming salamat for joining us. Ingat po kayo. Magpa-vaccine po tayo para makapag, na tayo ng herd immunity, okay? So, friends, thank you very much. Thank you for spending time with us. God bless all of us. Keep safe and keep reading good books. God bless you.